Hello, can you guys hear me? All right, looks like this mic's working. I'm not sure what's going on with my other mic, so I'll be back in just 1 second. I just need to make sure that my mic's gonna work for our guests. Just give me 2 seconds. I've never seen this before. Never had an issue with my other mic, so I'm not sure what's going on. Does it sound okay? Is my voice coming through all right? Just a little mic check there first. Just, not as good as before. Uh-oh. That's not good. That is not good. All right, 1 second. Let me just check one thing. Yo, this is crazy. I'm actually pretty impressed that this is the first time that this has happened to me. I've never had this happen, but like I'm impressed. This is the only time it has happened. So I'm gonna switch back to my other mic and just see if it works. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna play a little song. I'm gonna try to switch my mic up, and then I'm gonna try to get my other mic back up and running. I apologize for this, guys. Just give me literally 2 minutes. I'm just gonna play one of my other starting songs that I normally have, and we'll get it starting here in a second. This is crazy. This has never happened, but hey, bound to happen eventually. Appreciate you guys. We'll still get this kicked off and ready to go before football starts. Looking forward to that for sure. But I'll BRB.
All right, we're back. And I think I figured it out. For some reason, my computer had turned my volume down on my microphone all the way. Jesus, that's tough. All right. Just if I could get like a mic check from somebody in the chat, that would be huge. Just anyone, don't care. Unless I lost everybody in the chat. All right, perfect. That's what I love to hear. Okay, sorry for that, guys. Like I said, I've never had that happen before, but here we are. And luckily, as I continue to learn more about my PC, I have some troubleshoot things on the go for myself to check a few things, and I find the answer. But here we go. All right, let's get right into it. We're going to have a guest on today. We're doing Between Two Sticks as we normally do. Here it is, the set. And of course, your host is myself, Big Kahuna 03. And today, joining me, he's played games at every position in LG except for goalie. This past season had one of the craziest Cinderella stories in the last week to make playoffs. He's a great guy and had his first season owning the Barrie Colts this season. Welcome to the show, RtC21. Thanks for doing this, man. How are you?
Good, man. Good. Just another night getting ready for the Bills game. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, for sure, for sure. Sorry for the delay there. I don't know if you're watching the stream at the same time as being on, but I was having some serious mic issues, but I got it all figured out, so we're good now.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, ready for the Bills game. You think they're gonna win?
Oh, I know they're gonna win, dude. 38-10. You heard it here first.
There it is, 38-10. I was actually crazy. I went to go on the sports betting website. I was gonna take them. I thought maybe they'd be the underdog playing this Super Bowl champions, but hey, looks like they're favored for tonight, so I'm rooting for the Bills too. Okay, so normally we start these things off with one random or interesting fact about yourself.
Um, I represented the United States in bowling in like a junior Olympic type thing. I traveled to Austria and played against like Czechoslovakia, Russia, a bunch of other countries for bowling. So that was kind of sick.
That's wild. So like when I ask this question, I say either one random or interesting. To me, that is random and interesting. That's crazy. How old were you when you were doing this?
Uh, 15 or 16.
Damn, you still bowl?
Um, Not as much as I would like to, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's probably not fun for your friends. I wouldn't go bowling with you because you just smash me.
Oh, well, it's like me playing LG, somebody's got to lose for somebody else to win.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. All right. So actually, speaking of LG, how did you hear about LG, and then like what made you decide that you wanted to join?
Um, I was in a Nana league, and one of my buddies that was, pretty successful in it, I just saw like the banner go back and forth and Discord of, oh, LG, you suck, duh, you gotta get your LG stats up. I was like, what the shit is LG? So I went and dug, and I found this, and I was like, wow, this is what I'm looking for. And I was playing with guys like Heroic Duck. He was in the league. Sophisticated. Owen Wilson's Nose. Lebrano. There was a bunch of guys in this league that are pretty well known around LG at all levels. And that's when I really like saw for the first time, like, this game is much more than a game. You can actually get really competitive with this.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely. And yeah, it's funny. Even in banana leagues, they're trying to look for your LG stats, and that's when you know that LG's on the top for sure. When you first joined, like, what was your first reaction of like the league? Like, I know for me initially when I joined, it was like, wow, this is a lot to handle. This is a lot to get used to, and like the competition is really, really big. So, like, what was your reaction when you first joined?
Um, it was pretty overwhelming. And I don't know, not to be like that guy or anything, but it was nerve wracking as well. It was overwhelming just to like literally navigate the site and figure everything out. And I was like, what the hell am I? I still have troubles to this day finding some things. So that was definitely one of the bigger parts. And then it was nerve wracking because um, I mean, the competition it's real. These guys, they don't, or not all of them, but some of these guys, they don't use the excuse, oh, this game sucks and oh, bad bounce it. Like, they learn it. It's game mechanics. This is a video game. At the end of the day, it's not real life as much as we want it to be. So those really good guys, they don't, they're not saying those excuses. They just play the damn game.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. Overwhelming is probably one of the best words you could use, I think. When you first join this league and like trying to get used to it and trying to get on, overwhelming is definitely a great word to use. Looks like maybe it was season 35 when you first signed up. How long did it take for you to crack a roster spot?
Um, Season 39. Season 39 was the first time that I actually got bid on. And even though like I signed up at left wing, I was actually bid on, and I played that entire season at center. Um, and that was a lot of fun. That was a really good team. Not a Mem Cup team or whatever, but it was definitely a team that I was proud of to have my first actual roster spot on. I played with guys like Mimic, Mimico Watt, there was so many people. Press LV. Now he was Martin Nuke at the time. Wizia was on the roster. It was a lot of fun and a great experience in my first season on a roster for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's a pretty good group of guys that you got going on there. That would have been fun for sure.
Yeah.
And that was, you said, season 39.
That was that was 39.
Nice. And then what happened in season 40 then? Doesn't look like you
40.
played much.
Yeah, no, 40. I signed up late. That's why my contract was what it was. I actually got super lucky and got assigned to Edmonton, and that was my first experience of seeing like an actual championship competitive team. Even though I was on TC, just to witness, the Discord locker room, um, it was awesome just to be there and watch those guys get so hyped up over everything.
Yeah, that was they went to the mem final.
Yep.
Nice.
Ted was their goalie. He was great.
Mm-hmm.
Season 40 food and Pistol Pete was up there. It was just a great line, like great team overall. Top line Tom was there.
Yeah, nice, man. No, that I remember that team. So it was just signed up late. Do you know, like, did you have intention to sign up early? Or do you know you were going to sign up late that season, or?
I don't know. I've moved around a lot in the
Okay.
last few years, so I might have been in the middle of a move or something. I'm not entirely sure.
Okay, so you did the right thing if you're in the middle of a move, not signing up, because I can't even tell you how many times I've actually had guys assigned to my team late, and they're like, "Yeah, I'm kind of like not around. I can't do anything. I'm not gonna play because I'm in a move." And it's like, okay, well, why'd you sign up then?
Yeah,
But
I feel your pain there. I don't know, man. I'm 30 years old. Like, I'm not gonna waste somebody else's time. You know what I mean? Like, I'm responsible enough to, and I respect other people's time, so I try to not do that type of stuff.
yeah, fair enough, fair enough. All right, so let's get past that. Let's talk about last season. I really liked that Sarnia team you were on. When I looked at that roster, I thought you guys would have been going pretty deep. You ended up losing in the first round, but first question is like, was it a fun season? Did you like the group of guys you were with?
Um, I liked my line. The locker room, it was different. It was very quiet atmosphere. My line, I had Kako, who's up in the A right now, competing for the Calder, and Crocodiles was my D partner. And the three of us were really the only ones that stuck together that entire season. Management at some point in the season just banded together. The three of them, they just put them on the same line. And then I don't know what the third line even was, to be honest. It was a rotating door. So
Yeah, that's fair. I remember that actually a little bit, but I'm actually surprised to hear that it was a quiet DR, man. Like I would have expected that to be a little bit more upbeat. I don't know all those guys fully, but I knew a few of them. And then yeah, like I said, I really like that team. I thought you guys were gonna do a lot of good things. You lost in the first round. What went wrong in playoffs? What happened?
um, I think people were just one. I mean, we didn't play good, obviously, but it was also just like kind of a weird season. Lines would come out like Sunday afternoon, and like this is after the whole locker room's like, "Yo, when am I playing? When am I playing?" And this happened the duration of the season. So by the time that playoff said, everybody was kind of like, "Whatever, dude. Like, I'm over it. I want this to be over." And guys kind of started getting selfish, not playing team defense. At least with my line was the case. Um, I don't know. It like once all the management banded together and they made that management line, it kind of felt like the rest of the locker room was irrelevant at that point.
Yeah, fair enough, fair enough. I remember actually one of the first times I think maybe we talked, like I reached out to you guys being like, that was a great game. I remember playing you guys and it was you and Crocodiles and you guys just were clamping, man. I could not get across the blue line. It was later in the season. I remember reaching out being like, man, like I could not get by you guys. Like it was crazy. But I thought you guys had a good team. It's too bad that that's how it worked out. But that's kind of be a common theme when you see really good teams lose in the first round. It's just not a good close group of guys going into playoffs, and I truly believe there's a lot to be said about having a like a close group, especially when it comes into playoffs, right? So
Couldn't agree more.
Right on. All right. So, leading into this season, what made you decide that you wanted to apply for ownership?
Um, I've managed in many banana leagues and have won quite a few of them. And I was on a hot streak. The end of 21 and all through 22, anytime I signed up to manage in a Nana League, I won. And with LG, my play, obviously, I'm not an NHL or I'm not an esports dude making 50K to play this game or anything. Um, but I wanted to really test myself and see where kind of, I stood, not just my own personal skill on, the ice or whatever, but also my managing ability. I'm really, diving into a pool for bidding where I don't know everybody. Whereas in these Nana leagues, I know every single player. I don't even have to pull stats or nothing. But here, by the time that everybody reaches the C, I think this past season we had like 1,200 signups or something wild. Like that's a lot of work, man. And I respect any owner that can go through and build these Excel spreadsheets or whatever their strategy is and pull all these stats for these guys because it's wild and it's a lot of fun to manage and compete against other owners who do that. You know.
Yeah, for sure. I'm definitely one of those owners that has a crazy spreadsheet going into the bidding session for sure. I since day one I do the same thing over and over, and it seems to work. I end up bringing in some new guys that I've never even played with before, and like you said, you get to know guys too, right? You'll pull guys as you get to know more guys, but yeah, definitely the players is I for me is a lot of fun. I don't know if you I don't know if you saw Fug's comment in the chat or not, but he just said I'd manage with RTC, but we live too close, and I'd hate to get mad and have to ruin his lawn.
Dude, and you know what? I tried to hang out with him and he ditched me, dude. So whatever, man. You're gonna come over and ruin my lawn. It's already kind of tarnished. You can burn it down. Honestly, we could just start over. Whatever.
Don't worry, man. If Fug already bailed on you, he egoed me when he first joined my team. He's just that guy by the sounds of it.
Dude, I'm gonna go toilet paper his house, dude. I'm pissed.
There you go. Fug, watch out for the toilet paper. Now that you've you got some ownership under your belt for a season, what is maybe one thing that you learned about management that you really didn't know about before?
Um, as far as like things that I'll carry with me to the future, or
I think more of like something maybe you didn't expect. Like you were like, okay, I'm gonna go do ownership, and you're like, holy, I didn't realize that I had to do this, 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 and this.
oh, I would definitely say the drama. There was a lot, or I don't know. I think that there was a lot within the managers chat. Um, I was expecting a little bit more of like a professional environment, and like some of those battles were, whoa, dude, whoa.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, you're gonna find your managers, and I think even one time in the manager chat, it might have been I said it to you. I don't remember, but it was just like, you know what? Some guys are gonna be like that, and you build relationships with other guys, and you're not gonna make everybody happy. So, um, it's something I love watching that some days. I'm not gonna lie, I love sitting back and watching the entertainment there. But yeah, that's definitely something that is a little bit shocking when you first hop into managers chat. And I can say it's been worse before too. So
Out it.
now maybe flipping it like to kind of what you were saying, like something that you take with you, like something maybe you learned throughout the season that you're like, hey, next year, like, or like something that you're gonna take on moving forward, whatever.
Um, Definitely don't be so eager to trade. I think that it being my first season and having the ability to make these moves and be a part of the whole ownership experience, trading players, calling up players, setting them down, yada yada yada. I was just so um, enthusiastic about doing it and so excited to be a part of it that I think I got overly excited and made not one but a few questionable trades. I think I finished definitely not at the bottom for trades this year, but somewhere like probably in the middle of the pack to higher end. And as a first time owner, I think that probably wasn't in my best interest.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, sometimes those trades can go south if they don't go your way, and if you make a couple of those, it can definitely put you in a bad spot. But yeah. So maybe a little bit about your management group. How did you choose those guys? And I guess maybe I'll start with that. Like, how did it come about that you had those two guys as your AGM and GM?
So Salty Kitten, who's the pullout king in your
Yeah.
Twitch, he's actually my brother. Like in real life, he's the godfather to my son. And obviously he's a stud goalie. He was actually, or he still is a good defenseman. He was a much better defenseman than he played this year. In past, he got into goalie, and I mean, I asked him to play defense, which is why he did. But I should have just asked him to AGM with goalie. But lesson learned. And then Sean, Sean and I have managed in Nana leagues before. We won championship. And he's just a great dude. Like any locker room that has Sean is lucky because he's toxic, but in a good way, if that makes sense. Like he does it jokingly, and like you can clearly tell that he's joking. He'll never, attack a person unless that person has already attacked him. Um, and he's clutch. I mean, the last 2 weeks showed it, like, yeah, okay, he didn't have, an insane season stat wise or anything, but he showed up for our team these last 2 weeks, which was huge getting us into the playoffs. But he was my right hand man all season for sure. During bidding, him and I stayed up together till like 3 or 4 in the morning. I mean, we got loose or whatever. We were definitely doing some things, but it was awesome that him and I experienced that together, just in an Xbox party, chilling all night. Uh, Late night Snapchats, just hey, this trade came across. He always responded super fast. He was amazing to have by my side, especially for a first year.
Awesome, man. Yeah, and I was gonna actually ask you to dig into him a bit, but it sounds like you've already done that. He seems like he's quite the character. Seems like he'd be a fun guy to have around. So that's good. What kind of roles did your management have? If did you guys kind of share the ownership of everything, or did you have specific roles for them? What did they do for you?
Um, Salty came in and was very clear from the beginning that he will not be doing any managing. Like, just he is here for the free contract, one less dude to worry about. And that was a mutual agreement between all three of us. I think he entered stats maybe one game, literally, not even a whole night, but just one game all season. But I mean, we were under the mutual understanding. So it is what it is. Sean, on the other hand, him and I, everything was 50-50. If a trade came across, I liked it. I brought it up to him, same thing. And neither of us would approve any trade without the other's approval. Waivers were the same thing. I definitely did a lot more. I did all, the behind the scenes work of filing strikes and getting people banned and doing all that stuff, actually going in and taking the 3 seconds it takes to set lineups. But as far as communication, um, he was always there. So
Yeah, no, that's good, man. It's good, and it's nice to have somebody to bounce those trades off of. Somebody else just to like gut check everything that you're gonna do too. And almost nice to have like just one guy to do it. I know sometimes in our managers chat, like I let my guys like we're in on everything. We have conversations and there's a lot of back and forth when there's three guys, but end up coming to the right conclusions most of the time. So no, that's good. That's good. And Sean seems like he was right into it. So that's huge for support for an owner too. So that's great.
yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Okay, so going into the last week of the season, didn't look like you guys had a chance at all to make playoffs. And then heading into the last night, you guys had to have a perfect night with a tough schedule. What was it that boosted this team to make it happen?
I think it was the 2 nights before. Um, Going into the last week, we knew that we weren't eliminated, but it was a long shot. And I mean, Who doesn't love a good underdog story? The boys, they just wanted it. We literally did nothing. Myself and Sean, we posted a small little thing in our Discord saying like, hey, we're not out of this yet. Like, yeah, if we make it, we're gonna play Kingston and probably get slapped, but whatever. Just making it would be huge. And with myself being so new to LG, not only just in managing, but actually playing as well. Sean, he's much more seasoned than I, and was explaining like, hey, if you make playoffs in your first season as owning, like that's something to be really proud of. And luckily, the trades that we had, the roster that we had, the boys, they just wanted it. They really did. Even though we kind of knew what was inevitable with Kingston. It was epic, dude. That locker room was going wild. Like, I never won a Mem Cup, but I bet you it was close to how my locker room was because those boys were hyped for hours. Like, it carried in the next morning. It was a
Yeah, for sure. And like, I mean, in that scenario too, it wasn't just that you guys had to be perfect. Like, you guys had to play like and win all those games. Like, and let's go back, right? So night one of your last week, you guys dropped all 3 games, right?
yeah.
So really, it was night 2 and 3 that were huge. So at the same time, you guys are doing some really good stuff there in 2 and 3. You got to worry that like all Sudbury needed to do, I think that night was win a game or get. I mean, it was 2 or 3 points they needed to get, and you guys were
Yeah.
like there wasn't a chance for you guys. So like a lot of things had to fall into place, but you guys took care of business and you got your stuff done. I can only imagine how fun it would have been for those guys because especially like maybe with the season that you guys have to go on a run like you did at the end, that's huge. That's huge, and like you said, inevitable. You meet Kingston is what it is. Like take the wins there to say that you made playoffs and you fought for it. You guys did it, so that was awesome. And like even in the downtimes in the season, like what was the dressing room like with the guys?
Dude, it I think that's what made the final run like so epic for us because like the guys that had been there from the start, I traded most of like the bidded guys, that we won in bidding away. I think we only maybe kept one line full, and that amount of personnel was dispersed, all around. So like the guys that did stick it out, they were so amazing. But I mean, it was tough, dude. Like, no, but this, nobody wants to play for the bottom team, and that really sucks because you're a bottom team, like yeah, you're getting your shit kicked in, but like, who's to say you're not the new breath of fresh air that comes in and really changes the environment? We can start winning games and we can really turn the season around. And unfortunately, with just how trades came, I thought that we made huge trades. I mean, I was pulling dude's stats much more in depth, and we got some big name guys, or at least I thought. And then naturally we got egoed. Oh, you're a bottom 3 team. You guys fucking suck. I'm not playing here. Like, all right, well, enjoy your band, dude. I don't think people like that should be in this league. If you're in here, you're here to play, regardless of what team you're on or if your friends are there or not. You're here to play the damn game.
Yeah, for
And we had quite a few trades. Unfortunately, I think I had like 3 or 4 people that I banned, and it sucked because like all of those guys were super high quality players that really could have helped us. Maybe not face Kingston in the first round, but who knows? And when that was happening, like these guys, they know how to navigate LG. They see what's going on. We were a pretty open management group. Like, hey, yeah, we traded away, one of our TCs or 2 of our roster guys and got this guy. And now we're out 3 people, and it got depressing. Nobody likes being on the bottom. It was even hard for Sean and I. We tried everything we could, and there was definitely some low points for sure.
yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, sometimes you can feel defeated, I'm sure, in those scenarios. But you know, I think maybe you might have touched on this, or I don't know what your answer will be, but I think maybe you already kind of touched on this. But looking back at the season, is there anything that you would have done differently to put your team in a better spot?
Um, I wouldn't have touched lines that were winning. I made a trade. I brought in Huncho Mikey for a center, and that line that week went 3-0. And then the very following week, I traded him away.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, so it kind of goes back to what I thought you were saying earlier about like, all the trades and whatnot. So you wouldn't have traded him away. Is that what you're saying?
Him along with other people. I mean, he wasn't, the only guy that was, getting us wins or whatever. But it was just like, why mess with the 3-0 line? Like let that ride out. Just let that beast go. You know, and focus on the other two lines. And I was trying to play puppet master so much to have three perfect lines, and that's. I mean, I definitely blew it. To some degree at least.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough. It's tough. You gotta sometimes put your, you know, lower your standards a bit for some other lines, especially this season. To be honest, man, like every team had like a legitimate, like call it a third line if you want to, right? This
Yeah.
season it wasn't as deep as it's been in the past, so definitely had to be okay with that. All right, let's get to a fun question I like asking people. What team or manager was the worst this season for you to make moves with?
Uh, you know what? I got two.
Giver.
First, was actually, and I say it out of love. The first was actually Posted alone. So Posted, Sarnia,
Mm-hmm.
um, obviously was my owner the season before, and just as I mentioned before, the dude was like vacant until Sunday afternoon, Sunday night. Mind you, he is a very busy person. So like, I get it or whatever, but it definitely sucked when, I'm trying to work trades and do all this stuff and like I just cannot get a hold of the dude. Him and then I only went head to head with one other manager, and I don't know, I think we kind of ended on decent terms at least, which was John on Kelowna. Um, and that was actually over the Huncho Mikey trade. But yeah, those were my two biggest pains.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Um, who I don't think I've heard on the show yet, so that's nice to have a little bit of variety, and like I assume everybody gets some different experiences. But um, question for you now that you're in WJC and owning, you've gone through bidding, and then you guys would have had a draft for the WJC. How did you find the draft versus bidding? Is there one that you like better than the other?
Bidding.
And why?
Definitely. Um, it's it's a lot more open and free. I do enjoy the draft and everything. Like, I'm in all the fantasy leagues and do all that stuff. And like, I draft really well in all those scenarios. But bidding is just such a new and foreign concept to me. Plus, with how much time it takes, it's actually a lot of fun. As opposed to like just having to be, ready to shoot from the hip in those close case scenarios. Plus, in WJC, I actually lost two picks, which was ridiculous. I picked one, and it showed 7 seconds on my timer on my laptop, and then it processed that I was skipped. So the potential for that even happening is to 9. But bidding, you don't have to worry about that.
Fair enough. What was the timer for your pick?
I think it was like 2 minutes. 2 minutes, yeah, 2
Why
minutes.
did you wait till 7 seconds left in 2 minutes to make a pick?
Well, obviously not a great move. But I don't, I don't have any like fancy gear or anything like that. I was between screens pulling stats, um, trying to figure out which was the better of the two. And I had missed because like they took signups like almost all the way to the draft. So I was doing like the last minute stuff and I got caught between screens and it didn't refresh in time. So
Gotcha.
it's
Then did
but
you end up missing out on the two guys that you were debating on?
no. Actually, everybody that I got on my roster, I only missed one guy in the draft. That kind of hurt. I wanted Vivop because I got Johnny, and Johnny and Vivop, they're always together. And that was the guy that I actually missed out on.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Now, like I mentioned in the intro, it looks like you've played every position but goalie in this league. So you've played multiple position. If they made a rule that you had to pick one position to play for the rest of your time in LG, what position would that be?
I don't know. I really don't. I guess right D. I had the most fun. Well, not the most fun, but I enjoy playing defense. There's not a lot of great defenders out there, and like it's a pretty, not that I'm great by any means, but it's a selective group, and when you do get that right D partner, I mean those two guys can carry a whole team. I mean, if you can't get past those two guys, you don't have to worry about anything else. And me and Crack, we had that. I enjoyed playing with him. I'm sure there's many of other D-men that I'll come across that I enjoy playing with, but I think right D. Even though I've played left D, for some reason, just the way that I like see the screen and the passing lanes and everything from the right side with a left-handed stick as opposed to the left side with the right-handed stick, I don't know. My brain processes it different.
All right, fair enough. And the last question I have, and the question that I ask everybody, because I love to hear what people think about the league. If you had the opportunity to change one thing in the league, what would it be?
As far as what? Because like that's a pretty
You can
open
change,
question.
hey, whatever. There's like RTC, you got the power to make one change in the rules, in the way the leagues ran. One change. What is it going to be?
I'd have to say trades.
Okay, what would you change?
Like if you like, I understand, like the bad faith trade and trades could be reversed and yada yada yada. But if you trade away a player that egos a team, that's like I said, it happened to me 3 or 4 times this season. It was ridiculous. I made good trades to bring in high quality players, and like these guys with their egos, they were like, "Yeah, I'm not playing," and then I'd have to ban them. Meanwhile, I already traded away 1 to 2 other people for this guy, so now I'm out those guys, and I'm out this banned player. But this banned player was just fine on the team past. I think it should be much more clear and evident that you at least I get those guys back or whatever. Like it's such a more in-depth process to rebuttal that type of trade than I thought it would be. Um, it's a pretty complicated process, I thought.
Yeah, that's fair. One thing I could suggest to you is definitely like putting notes in your trades and getting teams to agree to that kind of stuff. Like, hey, if this guy doesn't play for me, the trade gets reversed before you lock that trade, and you can put it in the trade comments. I've seen that in the past, but I don't disagree. Like at the same time, I feel like you know what, there should be some sort of compensation just because some guy decides that he wants to have an ego when you get a guy. And I just don't know how you would build that into the rules, but I don't think that's a bad idea at all. Williams 12, thank you for the follow, appreciate it. But yeah, no, I like that one. There's definitely some stuff that goes on in trades that it'd be nice to find a way to get some support on. That's for sure. You said
Yeah,
happened a couple times this season for you,
the trades and everything.
like where you got egoed and you had to ban a guy, you lost some guys.
Yeah,
That sucks.
so it is what it is.
Yeah, yeah, no, for sure. Okay, sweet, sweet. Usually open it up to the chat. If the chat has any questions for RTC, just fire them in the chat, and I'll make sure I ask them. And then I open it up usually for my guests to ask me one question if you have one.
Yeah. Obviously you're involved in the community, with a pretty good, fingers into everything. What out of all the rumors for the upcoming season in LG, whenever that date is set or whatever, what is something that you're looking forward to the most and something that you're least looking forward? It's obviously nothing's been confirmed, but like out of all the rumors and stuff you read and seen or even have dreamt of, is there anything that like stands out?
Yeah, I mean, okay, so yeah, there hasn't been enough information, and I know like McDonald's been in my Discord a few times, like teasing us with like, hey, we're working on stuff, we're doing this, we're doing that. So I don't know what it's gonna look like, but I can only assume that there is going to be some cross play at between PSN and Xbox. Now, what I look forward to the most, if that was to happen, is the opportunity to play against new and different players for sure. I think that's going to be really cool, really fun. And then somebody said it, I believe it might have been Fug that said it in my chat or in my Discord while we were talking about that. The thing that I would least look forward to is it doesn't change anything from like your player perspective and who you can move with, like who you can make trades with, who you can't make trades with. Because if they bring PSN and you can't have PSN guys on your team, so you could only trade with the Xbox guys. So it'd be interesting that way, based on what I think could happen. I think it's really cool because I think one thing it's going to bring different leagues back, which we haven't had in a while. Should be able to bring the Q and the ECHL back, and again, like being able to see some new faces, play some new guys. But yeah, I think you're still going to be limited to who you can trade with, right? So, um, so yeah, that's I guess my take on that piece.
Awesome.
I can't wait to find out what they're going to do. By the way, like I really cannot wait. Like I'm looking forward to it big time to see what's the plan.
Clock's ticking, man. We're getting there. We're getting closer and closer.
Yeah, and I'm sure they're doing all their work to say like they're gonna make the move that they think's best for the league. And it'll be interesting because you got to remember there's like still old gen on guys are playing old gen, so I don't know if we're gonna see a ton more signups or not. If more old gen guys have gotten new gen, but I think in the next year or two, it could get bigger, and expand as NHL will eventually, I'm assuming, stop supporting old gen consoles. So
Yeah.
this Williams that has recently just followed me. I don't know if he's one of your buddies, but he's saying he would love to drink some beers and chill with you sometime. I think he was a big fan of your display picture that is on the set right now of you drinking a Busch Light with your Busch Light hat on.
Oh yeah, classic. That's awesome.
That's awesome.
I'm glad they had a pretty good turnout for everything. So super happy to be on your show and everything. I've been following for a while, and I just wanted to say thank you. And I see many other owners and management in your chat right now, and I just want to say to those of you that I did ask and talk to over the season, thank you guys. If I do come back, it'll strictly be because of you guys. The amount of support and everything has just been overwhelming, and you guys weren't joking. If I had a question, I know I've been in your inbox, Kahuna, on last second rule checks and everything, and not once did I get the sense of anybody being an asshole or anything like that. So to not have that extra anxiety of this entire process was amazing to experience. And thank you, thank Griggs, even Plimmy, and a bunch of other owners just across the league and other managers. Fantastic. The staff, it was a great first season.
That's good, man. I'm glad you had a lot of fun. I'm glad a lot of their guys helped you out too. One last question before we let you go. Now that we have the Final Four, who's gonna win the O? Who's gonna win the W? And who will win the Mem?
Oshawa's going to win the Mem. I love Bad Larry, so I'm going to root for him. And I like upsets. I'm going to go with Swift Current. They've had some really tough series their entire journey. And, I mean, they've proven that, they'll play all 7 games to make it to whatever they got to do. So I don't think that they're just going to roll over and let Victoria come in and, slap them around. It's going to be a really good – that series is going to be great. But I think the Mem Cup series already happened with between Oshawa and Kingston. So
fair enough. I would the only change I would say, I think Victoria gets there. I like the idea of you taking the upset. Makes sense with you being the underdog this season and getting in at the last week of the regular season. But yeah, no, Oshawa definitely is proving a lot of good things, but don't count that Saginaw team out there. A very, very strong team as well. And can you imagine Oshawa wins, man, back-to-back seasons? The Oshawa Generals could win the Mem Cup. That'd be absolutely wild. So, hey, I know you did your thanks, but I appreciate you too, man. You do a lot of support for me. I appreciate that. You know, we've had a lot of good conversations through the season. I think you're a great, great person to have as an owner in this league, and I hope that you can continue doing it. And I appreciate you coming on today and sharing some of your experiences. So thanks a lot, man.
Thanks, man. You have a great night. Go
All
Bills.
right. Go Bills. All right. Thanks, man. Take care. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining. I'll let you all go. We got 12 minutes, I think, before kickoff. Go enjoy the start of the NFL season. If you're not an NFL guy, just keep playing some chill. Have some fun tonight. And we'll be back next week. I'll announce when my shows are going to be. Have a great night, and we will talk soon.